Hey everyone, in today's video I want to share with you my thoughts on the new MacBook Pros from the perspective of a visual content creator. I'm referring to the 2018 models that Apple has just released. So for the 13-inch models, they have upgraded from dual-core to quad-core, and from the 15-inch models, they have upgraded from quad-core to 6 cores. I was so close to getting one for myself to upgrade from my current setup until I watched a video from Dave Lee. Dave Lee is a tech YouTuber. He posted a video showing him running a new MacBook Pro from inside a refrigerator in order to get the best performance out of it. So after watching that video, it wiped out any temptation that I have to upgrading to a new MacBook Pro. The main reason for me wanting to upgrade is because a few days ago I was exporting 90 minutes worth of 4K videos using the Mac Pro from 2013. This is a quad-core 3.7 GHz. So for the 90 minutes of 4K videos, it took around 6 hours to export, and that's a very long time. I also have a MacBook Pro from 2015. This is a quad-core 2.5 GHz. This would export videos in a fraction of the time that it takes for the Mac Pro. But the reason why I'm not using this for video work is because, well, the Mac Pro is on my table, it's easier to set up, and this is a portable. I just don't use this as often, even though this is faster. So why don't I use this? Well, the thing is, when you are working on video editing, both work as fast, but when it comes to exporting videos, this is significantly faster. But while the computer is exporting videos, I can do some other things. So the processor speed is actually not the bottleneck for me. So while the video is taking a long time to export, I can take photos, I can edit photos, I can write, I can brainstorm for ideas for videos that I want to make for my YouTube channel. I can even go out for a jog, to exercise, to swim. There are a lot of things I can do while the video is exporting. When it comes to technology, I only care about two things: whether or not it can help me save time and money, and whether or not I can use the time that I have saved to do some other things. And in my case, I want to use the extra time to create more content. So for the new MacBook Pros, they can definitely help me save more time, but I cannot use the extra time to make more content because my workflow is such that while the video is exporting, I'm already using that time to do other stuff. So I don't have to sit at the table to wait for the video to finish exporting. Let me give you an example where time does matter. For example, let's say if I'm a 3D artist working for an interior design firm. So I need to model interior design, the rooms, houses, and I need to get those renders to look perfect with perfect lighting. So each time I render the scene, I want to tweak some variables to make sure that the lighting is perfect. And for every scene that I render, I have to wait for the previous scene to finish rendering before I can start on a new scene so that I can know what to change, whether or not I need to add more lights here, more lights there, whether I need to change the color of the lighting, whether the light is bright enough or it's too dim. I need to change all these variables, and all these changes I can only make after each scene finish rendering. So with the new MacBook Pros, it would help me, if I'm a 3D designer, to work faster, to get more work done. And in that case, I would save time and money. I would be able to use the time to create more content. So it's a very clear case to upgrade. For my video editing workflow, I am not able to create more content with more processors. Maybe in the future, when I shoot more videos than I can edit and export, maybe then that's the day I will upgrade. So who are the new MacBook Pros for? Well, if you are into graphic design, you can probably check out the dual-core 13-inch models. If you really need that extra power, you can get the 13-inch quad-core models. Now the 15-inch models, they are they are actually overkill for graphic design work. And also the main reason why one would consider using a Mac versus Windows is because you want to run Mac OS, or more specifically, you want to run software that can only run on Mac OS. So for example, if you are using Adobe Creative Suite, these softwares, they can run on Windows as well as on Mac, so there is really no reason for a person to consider Mac. They are more expensive, and with the new models, I mean, the port selection is not that good, and the keyboard is questionable, it's of questionable quality. So if you're running software that can be installed on Windows, I mean, why not choose Windows? I'm only using Mac because the software, the video editing software, Final Cut Pro, only works on the Mac. And the reason why I'm using Final Cut Pro is because it exports videos significantly faster compared to Adobe Premiere. If Final Cut can be used on Windows, or if Adobe Premiere can export videos faster than Final Cut Pro, I would have switched in a heartbeat. So that to me is the main reason why a person would consider using a Mac. So should you upgrade from an older laptop? I would invite you to ask yourself the two questions: whether or not it's going to help you save time and money, and whether or not you can use the extra time to do some other work to create more content. For me, the answer is yes and no. So I was thinking of upgrading, but now I am not going to upgrade. Anyway, let's take a look at the different configurations that Apple has offered and what I think about them specifically. This is Apple's website. Let's take a look at some of the new specifications. They have increased the memory limit from 16 gigabytes to 32. This is a great move. There was once I was exporting a really large 4K file, and Final Cut, it showed me an error dialog box telling me that I have ran out of memory. And because of that, I had to reduce the resolution of that file from 4K to 1080p. So having the memory limit increased, this is a great move. The turbo boost, alright. When you're buying computers, when you look at the clock speed, there is the turbo boost speed. Most of the time you will not reach the turbo boost speed, and not just that, you will not be running the computer at turbo boost speed for extended periods of time. It's just not possible. So this is to me just a marketing number. And this is the SSD read speed. This is great. This is great because if you are working with large files like 1 gigabyte of Photoshop files, EPS files, with this kind of speed, you can open those files in a split second. Not just that, when it comes to transferring photos and videos from your SD card into the system, when you're copying files, when you are duplicating files or transferring files out, the SSD speed really helps a lot. This is also a very good improvement. 10 hours battery life. MacBook Pros, they have been having pretty phenomenal battery life since 2015. I'm using the 2015 model. This has around 9 hours of battery life. But of course, battery life will be affected by the type of work that you do. If you are exporting videos, video editing, if you're doing any processor intensive tasks, battery life is going to take a hit. So now you can connect an external graphics card to the MacBook Pro. If you're just doing graphic design, having the external graphics, it's not that useful, but if you are doing 3D work, then that's where I can see that this is useful. And also if you are editing videos where it requires external GPU, it's going to help. It's definitely going to help. But for the type of work that I do, which is just very simple video editing, joining clips together, it's I won't be getting that, of course. Let's take a look at the individual models now. Let's look at the 13-inch first. So there is the dual core 2.3 with 128 gigs of storage. Do not get this because this is just 128 gigs of storage. After formatting, you will be left with 119 gigs. That is before installing macOS, before installing your apps. After you install macOS and apps, maybe you'll be left with 100 gigs thereabouts. And if you are using your computer for photo editing, Each time you insert the SD card, maybe you're going to import 4 to 8 gigs of photos. If you shoot videos, maybe you're going to import 8 to 20 gigs of videos. This is going to run out of storage very, very quickly. So if you want to do graphic design work, very simple 2D graphic design, edit photos, I would recommend definitely getting 256 gigs and above. With 256 gig, the effective amount of storage you'll be left with is 238 before installing macOS and apps. This comes with 8 gigs of memory. 8 gigs of memory is quite sufficient for general purpose graphic design work. If you really do need the extra processor, the 13-inch models, they now come with quad-core option. This is great for those people who work with video, who need to do processor-intensive tasks. Even though this is quad-core 2.3, it's supposed to be slow because it's just a 2.3. My Mac Pro on there is a quad-core 3.7, so the clock speed for that is significantly faster compared to this. But in real life, this is going to export videos in a fraction of a time compared to the Mac Pro. I'm not kidding you. And that's because there is this quick sync technology built into the Intel processor. It works really well with Final Cut Pro. It works really efficiently when it comes to exporting videos. So if you use Final Cut, get the Mac, you're going to save a lot of time. Let's look at the 15-inch models now. So the base model is a 6-core 2.2 GHz. The middle one is a 2.6 GHz, and the high-end one is a 6-core 2.9 GHz. Now there is some issues, some controversies with these processors. A lot of people have complained that these processors, they run so hot that they are throttled in the MacBook Pros. And because of throttling, you are not going to get the advertised speed, especially for the 2.6 and the 2.9. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the 2.9. It throttles so bad that it cannot even maintain the 2.9 gigahertz. So you're paying extra money because you want that processor, you want that processing speed, but in real life, it doesn't give you that sort of performance, so you are spending unnecessary money. It may look like this is a low clock speed compared to the 2.9. It is a low clock speed, but remember that you are coming from a quad core to a 6 core, so you are still going to get a significant improvement in terms of processing power. So if I were to choose between the 3 different models, I would definitely get the base model. I would spend the money that I have saved to increase the storage and also to increase the memory. Alright, so for the 2.6 6-core, it can turbo boost up to 4.3, but in real life, you are not going to be seeing this kind of performance. And for the 2.9, it can turbo boost up to 4.8. Real life, you are never going to be looking at this kind of performance. If you run your MacBook for extended periods of time, you are not going to see this. I mean, if I want to buy 2.9, I will be running the processor, I will be pushing the processor for as hard as it can because I work on videos every day. So I'll be running the computer for extended periods of time. If I want to buy this 6-core 2.9 gigahertz, I want to be able to see it running at 2.9 for extended periods of time. And that is, from the reports that I read, from the reviews that I have seen, it's just not happening. So to me, these 2 options, not really worth the money. So that's what I think about the new MacBook Pros. If I were to upgrade, I would definitely get the 15-inch base model, the 6-core 2.2 GHz, because that's where I think the value is at. I do not want to spend extra money for performance that I will not see. Maybe Apple will improve their firmware or OS to take advantage of the better processors. But as of right now, I think the value lies in the base model 15-inch. But before you buy any MacBook Pros, do some research. Look for reviews that are talking specifically about your workflow. If you edit videos, look for reviews that are written by people who edit videos. If you're into 3D work, look for reviews that are written by people who do 3D work. The reason why I'm saying this is because there are a lot of people who post benchmarks numbers, Cinebench, frames per second, all those things. Don't be distracted by those numbers because they may or may not translate directly into time savings for you. In the real world, we do not run benchmarks for a living. Like I said earlier, a quad-core 3.7 GHz Mac Pro exports videos slower than a quad-core 2.5 GHz. Numbers do not tell the whole story. That's just my personal opinion based on my experience and workflow. I will post some additional links in the video description below so that you can, if you want some other opinions, if you want to make a more informed decision before you buy, you can check out those links below. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comment section below. I hope this video is helpful. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.